welcome. Today, we're going to talk about something incredibly powerful, a framework for building the one thing that can truly change everything, your own inner strength. So let me ask you something right off the bat. Have you ever had that feeling? You set a goal, you make a plan, you feel that burst of motivation, but then somehow you find yourself procrastinating, second-guessing everything, or just slipping right back into those same old habits? If that sounds even a little bit familiar, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You see, here's the thing. The struggle most of us face isn't really about what's happening out there. The real hurdle, the one that's actually limiting our progress, is the challenge that lies within each of us. And today, we're going to break down how to understand and master that internal landscape so you can finally start moving forward. And that brings us to the core idea for our entire discussion. The mountain you really have to master is yourself. This metaphor is the key. It's about shifting from a place of, self-sabotage to a place of genuine self-mastery. It's about conquering those internal peaks of doubt, fear, and all those limitations we place on ourselves. So to guide our climb today, we're going to focus on 4 key areas. First up, we'll talk about the power of belief and how it really does shape your reality. Then we'll get into the courage of authenticity. After that, we'll cover the strength of resilience, how to turn setbacks into your power. And we'll wrap up with the clarity of purpose, which is like your own inner compass. Okay, let's start our climb at the very foundation of it all, the power of your beliefs. Honestly, everything you do or don't do starts right here, with the stories you're telling yourself about what's actually possible. So what are beliefs really? Well, you can think of them as these unquestioned commands just running in the background of your mind. They're the rules that tell you what's possible, what you're capable of, and how you think the world works. I mean, if you believe, deep down, that you're probably going to fail, you're not going to give it your all, right? This is why any real, lasting change has to start right here, with your belief system. And just look at the difference between a limiting belief and an empowering one. It's night and day. A limiting belief, like, I'm just an anxious person, well, that creates a fixed identity. There's no room to grow. But an empowering belief reframes it as, I can learn to manage my feelings. See? That simple switch opens up a world of possibility. Same thing with success. Thinking success is for other people is like a closed door. But believing good people can use resources for positive change, that's a door swinging wide open for you. A really great way to picture this is to think of your mind as a garden. Now, if you're constantly planting seeds of doubt and fear, guess what's going to grow? That becomes your reality. But if you consciously, intentionally choose to plant seeds of success and possibility, your mind will naturally start figuring out how to make that success happen. The most important part? You are the gardener. You get to choose what you plant. And this leads us right into our next key idea. Once you start cultivating those empowering beliefs, you create the space for something really amazing to grow. Authenticity. Real strength isn't about being who you think you should be. It's about having the freedom to be who you actually are. Now, authenticity isn't some finish line you cross one day. It's a daily practice. It's the moment-by-moment choice to let go of all the pressure to perform and instead just embrace who you are, right here, right now. Imperfect, maybe a little vulnerable, but whole. It's about living your life from a place of real self-worth. And that idea of worthiness is captured so well in this powerful affirmation. It's about understanding that your value isn't tied to your to-do list or your achievements. It's unconditional. Just take a second and imagine starting every single day with this thought. No matter what gets done and how much is left undone, I am enough. So here's a really practical way to bring this into your life. Think of this mantra. Don't shrink, don't puff up, stand on your sacred ground. Don't shrink means you don't make yourself smaller to make other people feel comfortable. Don't puff up means you don't build up those defensive walls. It's simply about standing firmly and calmly in who you are.
Okay, so now that we've got a handle on how belief and authenticity build our foundation, let's look at what this does for our resilience. This is about so much more than just bouncing back. It's about finding meaning and even power when you're facing real adversity.
First things first, we have to clear up a huge misunderstanding. So many of us are taught that being vulnerable is a weakness. But in reality, the exact opposite is true. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's actually a direct measure of your courage. It's where joy, connection, and creativity are born. If you try to avoid being vulnerable, you end up giving up on the very experiences that make life worth living.
And there's no more profound example of this than the story of Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who survived the Holocaust. In the concentration camps, he experienced suffering that is just unimaginable, uncontrollable. But he had a realization. The one thing that could never be taken from him was his freedom to choose his response. He chose to find meaning in that hardship, and by doing that, he was able to mentally rise above his horrific circumstances, proving that we always have the power to control our own attitude.
This ability to find meaning, even in the absolute darkest of times, leads us to our final and, you could say, our highest pillar, having clarity of purpose. This is what gives you your ultimate direction. It's the fuel for perseverance. It truly is your inner compass. So your purpose is your own unique mission. And it's so important to understand that this isn't about external things, fame, money, status. That's not it. Instead, your purpose is all about what you contribute. It's about living in a way that aligns with your deepest values and making a positive impact, no matter how big or small that might look. But, okay, how do you take a big idea like purpose and actually use it in your daily life? This focusing question is an unbelievably powerful tool for that. Just ask yourself, what's the one thing I can do right now, such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? This question connects your huge long-term vision to a concrete, immediate priority. It brings your purpose right down to earth. So why does all of this matter so much, especially right now? Well, we live in a world of nonstop distraction, right? And there's this culture of scarcity that can make us feel like we're never good enough. Building this inner foundation, it allows you to anchor yourself in your own values, to filter out all that noise, and to focus on what actually matters to you. So, here it is, your framework for the climb. It all starts with the power of belief, which lets you reshape your reality. That, in turn, gives you the courage of authenticity to just be you. From that place, you build the strength of resilience so you can turn hardship into growth. And all of that is guided by the clarity of purpose, your inner compass. In the end, everything we've talked about today really comes down to this one essential truth. Success is an inside job. It's not about trying to manipulate the world outside to get what you want. It's about doing the internal work first, because once you put yourself together on the inside, you'll be amazed at how your external world just starts to fall into place. And now, I want to leave you with a question to reflect on. Based on everything we've just covered, what is one small, totally manageable step you can take today to start building your own inner strength? It doesn't have to be a giant leap. A tiny first step is all it ever takes to begin the climb. And we would genuinely love to hear what that step is for you. Share it in the comments below. You never know. Your journey could be the little bit of inspiration that someone else really needs to see today. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, the climb always begins with a single step.